sitting in the front reception area of the daycare near the front desk, right next to the doors where other parents are entering and leaving the facility. Glancing over to the director's office after she walked away to her alleged emergency, an empty office, not being used. And I sit on the other side of the floor to ceiling glass as the assistant director sits down next to me, feeling being put on display, feeling maybe they're scared of me, so she wants a witness to hear the conversation. I don't know. But just the lack of professionalism, feeling so out of place, it just felt wrong. I sat there and I waited for the assistant director to start the conversation. The first thing she says, well, your son in his class went to the basketball courts for physical activity and he bit somebody again. This time, the teacher and the assistant saw it. Quickly trying to maintain my composure, getting back to my foundation, getting back to my roots of using reflective thinking to help manage situations. I calmly look at her and I said, I understand that may have happened, but that's not why I'm here. I see her shift uncomfortably in her chair, turning to face me. And I look at her. I'm keeping my voice calm and level and low, purposefully, to try to maintain control and not come across as being elevated. I ask her, did you watch the camera footage I asked you to view? Her immediate response was, no, the cameras are not working. We can't look at the film until all the systems are fixed and for it to come online as if it recorded. I'm thinking to myself, I work at a school. Camera systems, while we may have more advanced system, it's probably on a loop of recording. It may be a few days, maybe a week, but there's going to be a backup even if it gets overwritten. But I keep that to myself. I'm thinking this is how it's going to play out. We've started out unprofessionally in an open area where any other parent or staff member walking by is going to hear this conversation. To me, this is a sensitive conversation, but yet we can't talk privately. So I've become that parent. That parent they're trying to figure out how to handle. That parent they're not sure what to do with. That parent they're not sure how is going to act or respond. That parent who walked in calmly and they were expecting me to make a scene and I'm not. It became that parent they don't want to deal with. And it was evident because of the lack of professionalism. Having the feeling of being that parent that they're managing, I just listened. I waited for her next response after she said the video was down. Waited for her to say something. There was no response. To continue the conversation, I said, when the video comes back up, I know what you're going to see. I recapped moment by moment what I saw while I was watching the live feed. And I told her, I said, I saw it happening on the classroom camera. So I don't need anybody to tell me what happened. We need to talk about why you called me. She immediately interrupted me. Oh, I misunderstood what the teacher said. I didn't mean to say. I said, no. And I cut her off because I was getting irritated. Took a breath. I said, for what you told me, you used very specific words that my child walked up to another student, which was untrue. My child was bit another student unprovoked, which is untrue. All by a teacher who never witnessed it because her and the aide were in the bathroom and then washing hands. Again, she interrupted me. Oh, that's not true. I took a breath. I said, ma'am, I was watching the video while this happened. Do not tell me what is true or untrue. She goes, well, that's not how things are supposed to go in the classroom. They wouldn't leave the classroom not supervised. Only one of the adults will go to the bathroom to do the potty break, while the other is helping wash hands and being where the kids are. I said, while that may be your procedure, that is not what happened today. I took a moment and I'm like, quickly recapping. I walk in, director makes an excuse, goes away. I'm being treated unprofessionally while parents are walking by, looking, glancing as we're talking. And not even privately. And the first thing she told me was about a different incident, and the tone when she said about the basketball court area where they were playing. Oh, but he bit somebody this time. The teacher saw it this time. That, like, the I gotcha or I got him. It was just so heartbreaking, disappointing, and it did not settle right. So I remember looking at her and saying, I think until you watch the video, our conversation here is really at a standstill. I said, I know you can't tell me what the teacher told you, but whatever the teacher told you was specific enough for you to call me. And she tried to interrupt me again. I said, no, let me finish. For you to call me and give me a very specific scenario about my son and what he allegedly did that was false. I said, what is most frustrating and what makes me really angry over this is that had I not been watching the camera when this incident happened to see with my own eyes what happened in that classroom at the time of the incident, I would have taken your word at face value because I trust the teachers in the classroom. I trust you guys as a company to care for my child, to look out for his well-being just like you do for everybody else. But had I not been watching, I would have taken what you said today at its full face value, which would have been wrong and would have been a lie. So where I'm at this point, because right now the trust between you, the teacher, and myself is broken. I don't feel comfortable leaving my son here the rest of the day when we have an issue and I can't trust you right now. I think it'd be best if I take him home and we end today so that way you guys can watch the video when it comes back up and for you guys to have a response for me. Because I was that parent, they walked me to my child's classroom door supervised, which has never been done before. The teacher says something sweet along the lines of, oh, he had a better afternoon, lie, and tries to give him a hug. And I just watched her and put on a fake ass smile because I didn't want my son feeling any sort of way. And I took him home with me. It didn't feel right. And for me to talk about this story years later, for months, 4 to 6 months after this incident, I cried every time I told the story because I was just disgusted how adults could just lie on a 2.5-year-old, how there was no remorse, there was no caring, there was just the I got him this time feeling, and I was just beside myself. I didn't know how to feel, but a mixture of emotions just with disgust at the top, and it made me feel icky. And this is where we're sending our son to daycare, and we're in this limbo of what do we do because it's summertime. Enrollment for August, which is a month and a half away, for a lot of places is already complete. We're behind the 8 ball. So it was a scramble. It was It was an extremely challenging time as a parent to have to deal with other adults regarding my innocent son, that it was wrong and it was heartbreaking. And there's no book, no guideline to prepare you how to deal with ugly.